Most garden flowers bloom once, look great for a few weeks, and then leave you with nothing. But some plants just refuse to stop. Today I'm showing you 20 perennials that bloom multiple times a year, so your garden never has a dull moment. Yarrow is one of those plants that just makes a garden feel dreamy. It produces tiny, delicate clusters of pale blooms with fragrant fern-like foliage. The secret to getting it to bloom multiple times is deadheading during summer. Snip off the spent flowers and it'll push out a fresh round. It loves full sun and well-drained soil. And honestly, it's a tough one. Drought, poor soil, harsh conditions, Yarrow handles it without complaint. A great companion plant for veggies too. Veronica, also known as speedwell, is one of those plants that rewards a little attention. Once that first flush of spiky blue, purple, pink, or white flowers fades, just deadhead them and wait. A second round of blooms will follow. The flowers grow on tall 2 to 3 foot stems and have a similar look to salvia. It does best in full sun with well-drained loamy soil, perfect for rock gardens and borders. Now, not all azaleas rebloom, so you need to pick the right variety. Ones like Autumn Belle and Bonfire are bred specifically to flower more than once. This evergreen shrub can grow up to 10 feet tall and produces gorgeous rose-like flowers, which makes sense since its botanical name literally translates to tree of roses in Greek. It prefers moist, well-drained, acidic soil and dappled shade. Just a heads up, this plant is toxic to humans, so keep it away from kids and pets. Phlox has one of the most satisfying rebloom stories. It naturally blooms through summer with large, fragrant, colorful clusters of flowers. When that cycle ends, deadheaded, and it'll come back with a beautiful second flush in the fall. One thing to watch though, it's prone to powdery mildew. So make sure it has good air circulation. Full to partial sun and rich, well-draining soil will keep it happy. If you want constant color throughout the year, geraniums are your best friend. With enough sunlight, they can literally bloom all year, even indoors. The Roseanne variety is a standout. It produces stunning violet blue flowers from late spring right up until the first frost. Deadhead the spent blooms to encourage new ones. Though many varieties do it naturally, it adapts well to both partial shade and full sun, as long as you keep the soil moist enough. There's something magical about daylilies. Those trumpet-shaped blooms come in just about every color you can imagine. The catch? Each individual flower only lasts a day. But here's the thing, certain cultivars are bred to keep pushing out new blooms well into fall. They grow from bulbs. They're easy to cultivate. They can handle salt in the soil, and they thrive in full sun to partial shade with organically rich, well-drained soil. Woodland sage is part of the mint family, and it's honestly one of the most reliable reblooming perennials out there. It grows in dense, upright clumps with gorgeous purple, blue, and pink flower spikes. It's often mistaken for lavender. Keep it deadheaded and well-watered, and it'll extend its flowering season well beyond summer into fall. It's hardy, drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, and perfectly happy in full sun to partial light with any well-draining soil. Few plants bring as much joy to a garden as lavender. Those silvery green leaves and iconic purple flower spikes fill the whole space with a calming, soothing fragrance from late spring through summer. Pruning and cutting it back regularly is key. It encourages more blooms and keeps the plant from getting too woody over time. Lavender loves cool climates, slightly alkaline, well-drained soil, and it's a magnet for pollinators. It also makes a gorgeous garden hedge. Roses have this reputation for being high maintenance, but modern cultivars like Knockout and David Austin varieties have made them much more accessible. Many of these bloom repeatedly from late spring all the way to fall, producing those full layered flowers in a wide range of colors. Deadheading helps amplify the blooms. They want full sun, rich and well-drained soil with a neutral to slightly acidic pH, regular watering, and a bit of general maintenance. But the payoff is absolutely worth it. Coneflower is practically indestructible. It blooms repeatedly from early summer to fall, attracts pollinators, and handles drought, deer, heat, and salt without breaking a sweat. Those spiky cone-shaped centers surrounded by purple and pink petals are instantly recognizable. It adapts to all soil types and grows well in both full and partial sun. If you're new to gardening and want something that just works, coneflower is a great place to start. Coreopsis produces these cheerful little daisy-like yellow blooms in early summer that just brighten up any space. With the right care, mainly deadheading or snipping off spent flowers, you can easily extend its flowering season well beyond that. It's one of those low-effort, high-reward plants. Give it full sun and it will thrive in poor, sandy, or rocky soils. Drought and humidity, not a problem. There's something timeless about a Shasta daisy. Those classic white flowers with bright yellow centers, single or double layered depending on the variety, are a staple in any cottage garden. The more compact varieties tend to rebloom the most, especially when you deadhead regularly. Once established, it barely needs any attention. Full sun and average to dry, well-drained soil is all it asks for. Catmint is one of those low-maintenance plants that blooms heavily with almost no effort. Those tiny lilac and lavender flower clusters on loose, airy spikes are absolutely charming. Cut the plant back after the first flush of blooms and it'll come back full force. It's drought-tolerant, not fussy about soil type, and does best in full sun. And yes, your cat will absolutely be obsessed with it. Certain varieties of the bearded iris are truly special. They bloom once in spring and then come back again in the fall, all on their own. You don't even need to deadhead them to get that second flush, as long as their basic needs are met. Those large ruffled flowers in purples and yellows are genuinely stunning. They prefer full sun with dry, well-draining soil. Avoid heavy clay, heavy mulching, and overwatering. That's a fast track to root rot. Penstemon is a wildflower you often spot growing at higher altitudes, and it brings that wild natural charm right into your garden. It produces tubular white flowers in spike-like arrangements, and when deadheaded, it will push out multiple rounds of blooms throughout the season. It grows best in well-drained, moist to dry loamy soil, but can handle other types too. Give it full sun and it will absolutely glorify your garden. Candytuft is a low-growing, ground-hugging perennial that produces clusters of small fragrant flowers in white, pink, or purple. It reliably blooms in spring and, if deadheaded after that first flush, often reblooms in fall. It's incredibly versatile, works beautifully in rock gardens, as border edging, or as ground cover. Full sun and well-drained soil are really all it needs. Hibiscus needs absolutely no introduction. Those large, dramatic flowers 4 to 6 inches wide in red, pink, white, and yellow are instantly iconic. Modern cultivars like Brilliant and Painted Lady have been specifically developed to produce long-lasting blooms multiple times a year. In warm climates, they can bloom year-round. They thrive in full sunlight, well-drained, moist soil, and plenty of humidity. The Madagascar periwinkle is a cheerful, resilient plant from the dogbane family. It produces small radial flowers in purple, pink, or white and blooms multiple times a year, especially in summer and fall when deadheaded. It handles both full sun and dappled shade well, prefers moist, well-drained, slightly acidic soil, and high heat doesn't bother it at all. A great addition if you live in a warmer climate. Why settle for multiple times a year when you can have all year? That's the deal with Lantana in warm, frost-free regions. Grown as a perennial, it produces blooms continuously. Those beautiful spherical clusters in red, orange, yellow, and pink are eye-catching and long-lasting. It has a woody stem, a sprawling habit, loves full sun, and can handle poor soil and drought-like conditions. Just be aware, it's toxic if ingested, so keep that in mind. We're closing out with one of the most dramatic plants on this list. Bougainvillea, or some pronounce it bougainvillea, is a tropical climbing perennial that, in the right conditions, can be coaxed into blooming multiple times a year. Those vibrant small flowers surrounded by large colorful bracts are absolutely spectacular. It loves sandy or loamy acidic soil with great drainage and full sun. Here's a fun tip: the older it gets, the more it blooms, so the longer you have it, the better the show gets. And there you have it, 20 perennials that will keep your garden blooming and beautiful all throughout the year, season after season. The truth is, a garden that goes quiet after one bloom doesn't have to be your reality. With any of these plants, you'll always have something to look forward to. If you found this helpful, give it a like, drop a comment telling me which one you're planning to grow, and subscribe so you never miss our next video. Happy gardening!